Hi, this is Zach from mycodeteacher.com. Today we're going to be learning how to use NSLog to debug your application. NSLog is part of Foundation Kit, and it's a function for debugging that you can output to the console. Let's go ahead and get started with some examples. I've created an NSLog quick reference, which is also going to be available to you on the website that you can refer to in the future. And if you open it up, you'll see a format and a type. Now, these are the most commonly used NSLog formats, so we're going to go ahead and reference this document when we're debugging some information to the compiler. So let's go ahead and open up an Xcode project here, and I'll show you a little bit of how to use NSLog. Go ahead and create a new project, view-based application, and I'll call this NSLog, and I'll save it to my desktop. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're just going to output a typical NSLog to the console, and I'm going to do this right when the application starts up. So we're going to go into the application did finish launching, and I'm going to put NSLog just like you see here, and the typical format is you put an @ sign for a string, and let's go ahead and just type any NS string here. So I'm just going to say hello world and end the NSLog. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to build and go. The iPhone's going to start up with absolutely nothing. And we'll open up our debugger console, and you see that when the application started, the NSLog showed hello world. Now, this can be used as a very good tool because if you're working with numbers, objects, or any other type of information and you need to know what it is at a certain point in the application, you can use the NSLog to output this information to your console. So you can do that. You can output specific variables by using this specific format here. Say I want to output an integer. Let's say I make an int, and I'm going to call this integer my number, and I'm going to set that equal to 1, and say I want to output that number. Now this format is going to be used for every NSLog and every type of format, and what we're going to do is we're going to say NSLog, and you could put a string here so we know which specific variable we're talking about. So we'll say number, and we'll put a colon, and then you put a % and an I. Now as you see here, a % and an I is a signed integer. We can also use D for the same thing. So we can use I or D. I'll just use I in this case. And we'll end the string here. We'll put a comma, and we'll put my number, which is the variable that we're going to be referencing. If we want to put more than one variable in here, we'll have to do it in chronological order. I'm going to show you this first one right now, and then we'll work with multiple variables here in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and save. I'm going to go to build and go. And we should see hello world and then 1 outputted here to the console. So as you can see, we see number like we typed in the string and then 1. So let me show you multiple variables now. Let's say I want to do a float, and then I want to do an integer at the same time. So let me make a float here. I'll say float, and my float equals 2.0. I'm going to make an NSLog here. So I'll say number 1 %I, and then number 2 %f for float. As you can see, %f here is the format for a float. And I'll end it, and then we have to put it in chronological order here. So my number and my float. Make sure to put a comma here. Go to build and go. And we'll look at our debugger right here. And you see hello world shows the number 1, and then down here for our last NSLog statement, number 1 shows 1, number 2 shows the float. So essentially NSLog it's an extremely easy function to use. You just have to know the type of format you're going to use. Say you have a specific object that you want to put there, like an NS string. We could literally just put the NS string in here, or if you have an NS dictionary or anything with a meaningful value, you can use the %at. And again, there's all these other different types of formats for your different types of data that you want to display to the compiler. And again, if you want multiple variables, the first format of a variable that you plug into the NSLog string is the first variable you're going to plug in after your string ends, if that makes any sense. So again, this one will match with this one, and the second variable will match with the second variable, and if you put a third one, it's going to match with the third variable, so on and so forth. So really, NSLog is a pretty simple function to use. It's extremely helpful for debugging, and hopefully this quick reference guide will help you with the types of data that you're trying to display to the compiler. This is going to conclude my tutorial on NSLog. My name is Zach from mycodeteacher.com. Thanks for watching.